On the African savanna, the line between safety and danger is often just a few steps away. Beneath seemingly peaceful rivers, crocodiles lurk, waiting for the slightest misstep of their prey. Here, muscular strength, pack discipline, or years of experience can all be rendered useless in an instant. The following stories record moments when crocodiles and their environment together determine their fate. Zebras survive on the strength of their herd. On dry land, they maintain a steady rhythm of movement, react almost simultaneously, and rarely leave dangerous gaps. This safety comes from familiar movement patterns and consistently maintained collective discipline. But when the herd enters the river, that steady rhythm begins to crumble. The current makes each step unsteady, breaking the formation in moments. A young, slow individual is pushed out of the main current and falls into a narrow, deep space. Just below the surface, crocodiles react instantly to the unusual vibrations. A brief approach from below disorients the zebra, deviating from its safe trajectory. In this environment, water erases familiar reflexes, rendering any attempt at escape disjointed. The encounter ended quickly. The zebra herd continued on its way, leaving behind an irreparably broken order. In nature, the environment is not merely a backdrop, but the decisive factor when collective strength loses its rhythm. Gazelles are symbols of speed and agility on the savanna. Their light bodies, quick reflexes, and ability to constantly change direction allow them to maintain a safe distance from most land threats. But all those advantages come to a halt when the gazelle approaches its watering point. With its head down, its vision is narrowed, its movements become erratic, and its acceleration is almost non-existent. Just below the water's surface, the crocodile locates its position through tiny vibrations. The approach takes place within a few feet, leaving no room for error. It all ends in a brief moment. The gazelle loses its familiar posture, unable to regain the necessary momentum to escape the danger zone. At the watering point, just one wrong posture is enough to lose all evolutionary advantage. The river quickly returned to its calm. On the savanna, survival depends not only on speed, but also on avoiding moments that force vigilance to be sacrificed for survival. African wild dogs are known for their rare collective coordination on the savanna. They move persistently, maintaining tight formations and clearly defined roles to control large spaces. Their strength lies not in individual dogs, but in the precisely maintained pack rhythm throughout each movement. As the pack approaches the water's edge, the familiar rhythm begins to change. The damp terrain and limited space reduce maneuverability. A young individual subtly separates from the pack, focusing on what lies ahead without noticing the unusual silence beneath the water's surface. The approach happens in a very short moment. The crocodile doesn't confront the entire pack, but waits for a single individual to lose their rhythm. When the advantage of speed and space is gone, the collective response doesn't have time to form. The encounter ended quickly. The river returned to calm, and the pack of wild dogs was forced to retreat and regroup. In nature, even the most effective collective tactics can become fragile when placed in the wrong environment. Lions are at the top of the predatory chain on the savanna. On dry land, they possess a powerful physique, rapid acceleration, and a clear psychological advantage. Many confrontations end quickly, simply with the appearance of a single adult. However, when approaching water, that order changes. An inexperienced lion stepping too close to the riverbank will cross the line where its familiar advantage no longer applies. Crocodiles don't actively seek confrontation with lions. The situation only arises when the distance narrows and environmental conditions become unfavorable. Everything happens in a matter of seconds. Deep water reduces the lion's mobility and reaction time, while the crocodile simply needs to lure its opponent into the water to gain the upper hand. Conversely, if dragged ashore, the crocodile's heavy body forces it to abandon its approach and return to its familiar environment. The encounter ends quickly, without a prolonged chase. In nature, strength is not absolute. Only when adapted to its living space does an advantage truly matter, and the boundaries of power are always determined by the environment. African buffaloes are large, heavy herbivores with a firm footing. Adult individuals move slowly but steadily, rarely losing their balance when approaching the water's edge. Crocodiles approach silently, but with an adult buffalo, its immense weight renders any attempt to drag it into the water ineffective. The buffalo's strength in this environment is beyond the crocodile's control. Only when a young buffalo strays from its protective circle does the situation change. Lighter and with less developed reflexes, this individual becomes a rare vulnerability for the crocodile to exploit. In the wild, crocodiles don't challenge strength, but rather take advantage of unprotected areas. Hippopotamuses are among the largest and heaviest animals that regularly inhabit African freshwater environments. With their massive bodies, thick skin, and high defensive reflexes, each adult individual is a mobile force in itself. In shallow water, the presence of a hippopotamus is enough to establish order around them. When a crocodile gets too close, the situation isn't predatory. It's a test of distance. The hippopotamus doesn't move, but holds its body like a living wall, blocking the approach. The pressure comes from size, stability, and territorial determination, not from pursuit. The crocodile quickly adjusts its behavior. There's no safe approach angle, no chance of drawing the opponent into control. The contact ends before escalation, and the crocodile retreats to deeper water. In nature, not every encounter leads to conflict. Against living walls like hippos, the instinct for survival is sometimes most clearly demonstrated through the decision to stop at the right moment. Wild antelopes are the largest migratory herbivores on the African savanna. Each year, their journey of over 500 miles creates constant pressure on each individual. In the dense migration, individual rhythms gradually become diluted, and even a small deviation can become a survival risk. As the herd descends into the river, the biological balance immediately shifts. Deep water impairs body control, eliminates muscular advantages, and turns weight into a burden. Crocodiles don't seek out the weakest. They wait for individuals that lose their balance, moving out of sync in the turbulent current. The approach is swift and precise. The estimated bite force of 3,700 psi isn't intended to finish them off immediately, but to drag the prey into dangerous underwater space. Here, all familiar reflexes from land become ineffective. The migration continues, leaving behind an irreversible outcome. For the wildebeest, the surface water becomes an underwater hell. In nature, crocodiles are not chaotic destroyers, but rather regulators, forcing the population to pay the price for every deviation in the struggle for survival. Elephants rely on long-term memory and strong herd structures. Mature individuals lead the group with decades of accumulated experience, maintaining a tight formation even when navigating unpredictable environments like deep rivers. Their slow pace is always accompanied by silent vigilance. When the elephant herd wades into a strong current, the familiar order begins to feel strained. The flow causes the distance between individuals to widen momentarily. A young elephant slips, no longer within the herd's protective circle. From the mud at the bottom of the river, the crocodile takes advantage of this rare moment. The approach is swift, in a space where size is no longer an absolute advantage. The collective reaction of the elephant herd doesn't have time to form before the situation is resolved. The river soon returned to its calm. In nature, even species that dominate through cohesion can be challenged when the environment tilts decisively toward the ambusher. Through each encounter, the river appears not merely as a source of water, but as a harsh test of nature. The crocodiles don't need a long chase or a display of strength. They simply wait for the moment the environment sides with them. In the wild, the survivor isn't the strongest or most numerous species, but the one that understands the limits of its opponent and its own surroundings. When the water closes, any deviation leaves an irreversible price to pay.